Liu Sholian could remember his previous life. He and his late father, Wen Ben's elder brother, were of the same age, and he once detailedly recounted these events. A man of the scholar official class all his life, his conduct had many blemishes. After dying at the age of 62, he first met the king of hell, who treated him like a rural elder, asked him to sit down, and offered him tea. Looking at the tea in the Pluto cup, a clear and transparent, while his own cup was murky like wine, he secretly doubted whether this was none other than the legendary spirit fooling soup. While Pluto was turning his head, poured the wine into the corner of the table, pretending it was already finished. Soon after, Yun Wang reviewed my records of evil deeds from my previous life, became very angry, and ordered the ghost to take me away and punish me by reincarnating me as a horse. Immediately, Fierce Ghost seized me and took me away. When he reached the house, the threshold at the door was very high, making it impossible to step over. Just as he was hesitating, the ghost power cruelly tormented him, causing unbearable pain and making him fall down. Looking back, I have already come to lie under the manger. All I could hear was someone saying, "The black horse has given birth to a colt." I clearly understood, but I couldn't speak. Feeling extremely hungry, he had no choice but to ask the mare for milk to drink. After 4 or 5 years, his body became strong and tall. He was very afraid of being whipped, and whenever he saw a whip, he would get frightened and run away. When the master rides a horse, he surely covers the horse's body with the saddle cloth, slowly pulls the reins, and it's not too uncomfortable. Only servants and stable hands set off without any saddle or cushion, their legs squeezed tightly by the horse and in great pain. He was extremely angry and didn't eat for 3 days, so he died. When he arrived in the underworld, the king of hell found out that his sentence had not yet expired. He scolded him for trying to evade punishment, stripped off his skin, and sentenced him to become a dog. Feeling resentful and disheartened, he did not want to move forward. A group of ghosts beat him wildly, causing unbearable pain, so he had to flee to the wilderness. It's better to die than to be alive. He angrily jumped off the cliff, and after falling, he couldn't get up again. Looking down, my body was lying in the cave. The mother dog was licking my leg, and I then realized I'd returned to the human world again. After growing a bit older, I knew that excrement was dirty, but it smelled fragrant. I just didn't want to eat it. I was raised like a dog for a year, often so angry I wanted to die, yet afraid of being blamed for avoiding responsibility. Meanwhile, the master kept me alive instead of killing me. So it deliberately bit the master's thigh. The master became angry and beat it to death with a stick. Pluto interrogated the case, angered by his arrogance and brutality, beat him hundreds of whippings, turning him into a snake, imprisoned in a dark room, unable to see the sky. Feeling troubled, he climbed up along the wall and crawled out of the hole. Looking at myself, my body was lying in the thick grass, and it actually looked like a snake. So he made a vow never to harm living beings again, and when hungry, he would eat the fruits on the trees. For many years, I often thought about committing suicide, but I felt I couldn't do it. It would also be unacceptable to die by harming others. I wanted to find a dignified way to die, but I never could. One day, lying among the grass, he heard a carriage passing by. He hurriedly came out to block the road. The carriage rushed over him, breaking him into two pieces. King of the Underworld was surprised by his quick arrival, so he knelt down and cut himself open. The King of the Underworld, having originally killed him without cause, allowed him to complete his term and be reborn as a human, thus becoming Lord Leo. He could speak from birth, and for essays and historical records, once he read them, he could recite them by heart. He was recommended as a filial and clean official in the year of Sinew. I often advise people when riding a horse, you must definitely put thick padding under the saddle. The pain of squeezing the horse's sides with your legs is even worse than being whipped. The commentator of Strange History says, among animals with fur and horns, there also exist dukes and high officials. The reason for this is that within the ranks of these dukes and high officials, there might not necessarily be no creatures with fur and horns among them. Therefore, when a person of low status does good deeds, it is like planting a tree for the purpose of making it blossom. When a person of high status does good deeds, it is like fertilizing the soil after the flowers have already bloomed. The one who plants the tree can accomplish great things, while the one who fertilizes the soil can maintain it for a long time. Otherwise, I will have to pull a salt cart, be restrained with reins, and become a horse. Otherwise, I will have to eat excrement and urine, be cooked and cut up, and become a dog. Otherwise, I will have to wear scales and shells, be buried with cranes and storks, and become a snake.